Welcome to the Fraser Town Board 5-Minute Recap, the podcast that brings you up to speed on all the latest from the Fraser Board of Trustees. In this episode, we're covering the November 5th, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting. Let's get into the highlights. The meeting began with unanimous approval of the agenda and consent agenda. The consent agenda included approval of the October 15th meeting minutes, a resolution authorizing a contract with Conroy Excavating for Clayton Court hydrants, and a resolution approving a reduction related to water and sewer infrastructure for the Byers Peak Ranch and Mill Avenue Apartments projects. After that, the board unanimously passed a resolution authorizing D2C Architects to proceed with the design for the new Public Works building. Staff explained that this phase will prepare full construction documents while also bringing on a construction manager through a request for qualifications process. The board discussed funding sources and agreed to revisit cost allocations before construction begins. Next, the board convened as the Fraser Housing Authority to consider a resolution authorizing the issuance of revenue bonds for the St. Louis Landing project. Advisors outlined the bonds will be repaid entirely from project revenues and will fund the first phase of construction. After questions from trustees and public comment, the Housing Authority approved the resolution unanimously. Then the board reconvened as the Board of Trustees and opened a public hearing on Ordinance 528, which addresses non-functional turf. Staff explained the ordinance follows new state legislation that limits non-functional and artificial turf on certain commercial and multifamily properties, while still allowing functional areas, such as sports fields, playgrounds, and community lawns. Trustees and members of the public asked about the ordinance's strictness and what properties would be affected. Staff clarified that the ordinance applies only to new development and aligns with state standards. After discussion, the board approved Ordinance 528 on the first reading. It will return for a second reading and public comment in a future meeting. A public hearing on Ordinance 529 relating to vehicle sales and storage was also opened. Although it was properly noticed, staff requested a continuance to allow more time to finalize the language. The board agreed and continued the public hearing to the November 19th meeting. Next, staff presented the updated 2026 budget and project list, highlighting work on wayfinding, utility upgrades along Clayton Court, and Phase 1 of St. Louis Landing. The Downtown Development Authority also shared its budget outlook, noting steady revenue and plans for future downtown enhancements. To close the evening, the board entered into executive session to review matters related to the Joint Facilities Oversight Committee agenda for the purpose of developing negotiation strategy. That's all for this week's Fraser Board meeting recap. We'll be back after the November 19th meeting. For agendas and updates, visit FraserColorado.com or subscribe to the Fraser Town Board 5-Minute Recap wherever you get your podcasts.